When we picture royalty, we imagine glittering crowns, golden palaces, and elegant banquets. But behind the jeweled smiles and velvet robes, history hides something far more grotesque. The kings and queens of the past lived in ways that would make us recoil today. Their daily rituals were not only shocking, they were revolting. Tonight, we peel back the silk curtains of royal life to reveal a world of filth, stench, and unspeakable habits that challenge the very idea of majesty. Europe's courts were centers of absolute power, but they were also prisons of tradition. Hygiene, medicine, and social customs lagged far behind our modern expectations. What we now consider basic decency was often unknown, ignored, or deliberately rejected by monarchs desperate to appear above common humanity. From Versailles to London, from the icy palaces of Russia to the marble courts of the Habsburgs, royalty believed they were chosen by God himself. Their lives were supposed to be models of refinement, yet the reality was a theater of disgust. The Sun King, Louis XIV of France, is remembered for his opulent palace at Versailles. But beneath the chandeliers and gold-leaf ceilings, the air was suffocating. The palace had no proper sewage system. Courtiers relieved themselves in corners, stairwells, and behind curtains. The king himself bathed only rarely, claiming, "Water opens the pores to disease." Visitors reported the stench was unbearable. One ambassador wrote, "The corridors reek of urine. One cannot take 2 steps without fouling one's shoe." Versailles was not a temple of elegance. It was a perfumed cesspit. Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, cultivated an image of radiant beauty. But up close, her courtier John Aubrey described her as having black teeth, foul with rot. Sugar was a symbol of wealth in Tudor England, and Elizabeth consumed it obsessively: candied fruit, sweetmeats, and cakes. By middle age, she had lost many teeth, her breath reportedly unbearable. Foreign ambassadors whispered that audiences with her required standing at a distance to avoid the stench. Behind the powdered face and pearl crowns lay a mouth of decay, a queen corroded by her own luxury. Tsar. Even the Fourth of Russia, known as Ivan the Terrible, was infamous for his violence, but his private rituals were just as disturbing. According to chronicles, Ivan believed washing in animal blood would strengthen him. Witnesses describe oxen being slaughtered, their blood collected in basins, and the Tsar lowering himself into the steaming gore. The screams of animals echoed in the Kremlin while priests muttered prayers. The Tsar would emerge crimson, shaking, convinced he had renewed his power. This grotesque baptism was not only symbolic, it was madness cloaked in ritual. Marie Antoinette dazzled Paris with her gowns and towering wigs, but her hygiene was far from sparkling. Water was still feared in 18th century medicine, so bathing was rare. Instead, she masked her odor with layers of perfume. Her elaborate wigs, sometimes 4 feet high, became nesting grounds for lice and fleas. Servants recalled scratching noises at night. One even wrote, "The queen's head was a kingdom unto itself, inhabited not only by jewels, but by creatures." The woman mocked as Madame Deficit may have looked dazzling in portraits, but in truth, she stank of decay beneath the powder and scent. King Charles II of England, called the Merry Monarch, indulged in grotesque medical practices. Obsessed with alchemy, he personally brewed a potion called the King's Drops. Its key ingredient? Pulverized human skulls. Charles drank this morbid elixir regularly, convinced it would preserve his health and intellect. Physicians at the time prescribed powdered mummy, ground bones, and even human fat. To Charles, cannibalistic medicine was not horror, it was science. Yet the king who sought immortality through the dead died painfully at age 54, poisoned perhaps by his own macabre remedies. Inbreeding among Europe's most powerful dynasty, the Habsburgs, led to a grotesque hereditary deformity, the infamous Habsburg jaw. Portraits reveal swollen lips, protruding chins, and difficulty speaking or eating. Charles II of Spain, last of the line, was the most tragic. Born in 1661, he was described as weak of body and feeble of mind. He could barely chew food, suffered epileptic fits, and his autopsy revealed his body was riddled with disease. His deformity was the physical manifestation of centuries of incest, a dynasty rotting from within. Henry VIII, the Tudor titan who married 6 wives and defied the Pope, ended his life as a monstrous figure of pain and stench. Obese and immobile, he suffered from a chronic ulcer on his leg. The wound oozed pus and reeked so badly that courtiers gagged when near him. Ambassadors wrote of audiences where the stench of the king's body filled the chamber. Henry's temper worsened with his infection. He lashed out, executing friends and wives alike. By his final years, the once vigorous king had become a bloated tyrant, rotting from the inside out, his throne stained with the odor of death. Paragraph 9. We remember kings and queens as figures of splendor, their portraits frozen in dignity. But peel back the oil paint, and we see the truth. Rotting teeth, unwashed flesh, blood rituals, cannibal medicines, incestuous deformities, and the stench of decay. Royalty may have ruled with power and grace, but their bodies betrayed the filth beneath the crown. So we must ask, should we forgive them as prisoners of their time, or condemn them by our timeless moral standards? If you enjoyed this journey into the dark side of history, subscribe for more, and tell us in the comments, which of these royal habits horrified you most?